Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Rewatch. I am here with Jared, and this week we're getting a bit clandestine with things. So Jared, let me ask you the question: is there a war in Ba Sing Se?
No, and I didn't know Lex Luthor was an Avatar.
Oh, like there's actually quite a few voice actor cameos.
Yeah, but the thing is, when I heard that dude's voice, I was like, wait a second. I know that. Is that Clancy Brown? And then I checked the IMDb and I'm like, knew it!
Oh, that's not the only DC alum in this episode.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
In fact, you could say some of them might be Robin the Cradle.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
We'll get to that. So the gang has now arrived in the great city of Ba Sing Se. Appa's still missing. Supposedly Appa's still somewhere in there. We'll learn in a couple of episodes. But what was your first impression upon seeing the scale of Ba Sing Se?
That was cool, and I like how like Sokka is like, oh my god, it's gonna be really easy to find Appa. He's a giant sky bison. It's not like there's a lot of places to hide him. Proceeds to reveal the town, and it's like,
somebody spoke too soon.
Somebody spoke too soon. Yeah, I know. That's one of the parts I liked about this episode is they definitely communicated a scale for Ba Sing Se, and the city itself lived up to the hype because practically every episode they reference Ba Sing Se.
Yeah, so this episode kind of plays out more like a spy thriller, kind of like a suspense thriller a little bit. What did you kind of think about that vibe?
I've seen it so many times in other episodes and other things, and that's why this is not really my favorite episode, because I've seen that plot done like a dozen times before, and slightly better in other mediums, i.e., Captain America: The Winter Soldier and such like that.
But I think you can agree. I think we can at least agree that like your so-called least favorite episode of Avatar, it's still leagues better than a lot of the other stuff out there.
A lot of the other content out there today in terms of general stuff. Yeah, exactly. 100%. I'm taking this purely compared to the other episodes.
This is just compared to all the other Avatar episodes. Like the worst episode of Avatar, which like I think spoilers probably
it's still okay. Let me put it this way. I still enjoyed this episode. I still think it's okay. It's just the plot. That's the problem with me with seeing this show after seeing so much other stuff, is that I'm like, okay, I've seen this before.
Jared, I have a question for you. If someone offered you a choice, watch this episode for 10 hours or just watch one episode of My Adventures with Superman, what would you pick?
My Adventures with Superman, because this week's episode is pretty good.
All right, let me switch it out. It's just one episode of Gotham Knights.
I'll watch the first episode of Gotham Knights.
You're not making this easy on me.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
And before you ask, I would rather watch the first episode of Halo, because at least in the first episode of Halo, it's Halo up until the end when he takes the helmet off.
No, you have to watch the cheeky episode.
I mean, that episode still has action, so... Yeah, I'm not making this easy. By the way, I just want to say on Nick's live stream, one of Nick's live stream, we discovered something very interesting. Say what you want about the M. Night Shyamalan movie, but at least it had the proper pronunciations of the people's names. In other words, we found out that it actually is pronounced Ong. Again, I want to say this in front of the audience. How does that feel knowing that the M. Night Shyamalan actually pronounces the names right?
All right, I'm out.
Oh, we lost connection to Nick. I don't know what's going on.
This is why I'm like, I wish we were recording this on my channel, because like I would have booted you out so
I
quickly.
know.
I would have like dropped the clip, but like
To
you
quote
are really
He-Man-
abusing your powers here,
To quote
brother.
He-Man, I have the power.
Oh, what
The
have I
other
done?
thing is like I do kind of like how the whole firebender plot with the Bad Batch, I'm calling him that, and how the other teammates are like, "Are you sure you're not obsessing about this?"
Spoiler alert: he was obsessing.
He was obsessing, yes, 100%, and I like that whole thing.
I
And
love my favorite part about this plot. He was actually right, and in hit like he was trying to do the right thing. Like he wasn't trying to like massacre an entire village of people, which is what he did last time we saw him. No, this time he was actually trying to do the right thing. This is what I love about Avatar. It's just a nuanced, layered plot. It's like Jet is an antagonist, but he's not a villain. He's actually trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and that is one of my favorite parts of the show is that because a lot of kids show have like, no, we have the good Paragon and the evil a-hole, but now we have like the shades of gray in between the two. There's kind of like anti-hero stuff.
Also, like my favorite part of the fight is when Zuko had like the tips of his swords have like the blue fire on them, and basically just shows Jet, yes, I am a firebender, but I'm still gonna kick your ass. Like,
yeah, exactly. I definitely dug that, and yeah, I'm putting stuff in the private chat that I can't say on this. Nick knows what I'm referencing.
if only I had a subscription on Twitter to where I could share those spicy kind of comments.
No, but Nick, you like that, don't you?
No comment.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, I mean, other than that, I liked it. Again, hearing Clancy Brown's voice was awesome. The thumbnail has to be DCAU Lex Luthor's head on Long Fang.
That is not a title, but I already have mine.
No, I mean the thumbnail. I said the thumbnail.
Oh, the thumbnail is going to be so basically. What do you think of like the last part of the episode where they strapped him to a chair and they started to like
Clockwork Orange? They Clockwork Orange them. Yeah, I dug that.
So you remember how like when I said like, oh, there is no movie in Ba Sing Se? Like you remember how I said that to you, and I said there would come an episode that would explain it. This is the episode where I explain that meme.
Oh, sweet.
Like people saying there is no movie in Ba Sing Se. This is the episode they're referencing. Well, no. What the thing is, this is what the thumbnail is going to be. All right, it's going to be the brainwashing. The title of this episode is going to be "Is There a War in Ba Sing Se?" And like the little blurb on the thing is like, okay, now things are just getting weird.
Yes. And by the way, I got Mad Cocaine Bear vibes from the bear that was eating at the dinner table.
Oh, speaking of that joke, you like how they lampshaded all of like the combination animals, like the fact that it's just a bear. They literally say that's
weird. What it says here. It says this is the 4th time a non-hybrid animal has been featured.
All right, what other trivia you got for us, brother?
When Katara and Toph are getting dressed for the party, Aang and Sokka were playing a game similar to Zha Zhen Pan or Rock, Paper, Scissors. Rock, Paper, Scissors, Les with Spock.
I was literally thinking that exact same thing.
Yeah. Some satellite and services such as DirecTV or Time Warner Cable will list this episode as Secrets of Ba Sing Se. When Team Avatar and Judy, by the way, she was freaking creepy. It reminded me of that movie. It reminded me of both. It reminded me of that like horror movie that came out like last year about those people that have that really creepy like smile. That's what that kind of reminded me of. Anyway, so when they're at Ba Sing Se University, yes, the student told him to go see Professor Zai, who happened to be trapped in the Wei Sing Tong library. We saw him earlier.
Also, do you know who voiced that student?
Who?
Come on, you know that voice.
No, I don't. Explain it to me.
You don't recognize Robin's voice?
I didn't catch that.
That's Scott Menzel. That's Scott
okay.
Menzel. Robin from
I
Teen
didn't know the
Titans.
name of the guy that plays Robin. Okay, thanks.
He has a
Yep.
very recognizable voice.
The episode also serves as an introduction to Ba Sing Se, as it shows the 3 rings of the city, the royal palace entrance, and Team Avatar's temporary home. It's interesting. And Ong's apparent dislike of social segregation. Yes, I'm pronouncing it correctly. Of Ba Sing Se hints at the idea that the monks either do not segregate themselves due to riches or treat each other as equals.
I mean, there is like kind of some segregation, but it's more for like a social order kind of thing. Like, there is kind of like a men's temple. There's a women's temple. Like the women's temple kind of raise the young people. I mean, there is men at the women's temple, but it's more just like, you know, kind of a self, like, I don't know. I don't really know enough about this to really comment on it, but like it makes perfect sense because like airbenders are people who value freedom. So like Aang, it makes sense that Aang would be like, I'm just gonna come out and say it, the least racist person ever. Like,
yeah,
I just had to be blunt. I had to be blunt about that.
Yeah.
It makes like that's why when like they're talking about like when people talk about like gay airbenders and whatnot, it's like, okay, yeah, I could totally see there being gay airbenders. Like, yeah,
nothing in the lore contradicts that. It's not like with Warhammer and the female space marines.
yeah, because like usually, because like in the airbender lore, we've had both like they would have children and then give them to the temple, they'd be raised by it. But then we'd also have airbenders who'd literally marry and have families. It's almost like you can marry or you can do the other thing. You have options. It's almost like they have freedom. Like, oh, you want to get married? Okay, yeah, sure. Who cares? Like, oh, you want to still travel and do your thing? Okay, you can give them to the temple, raised by it. They'll be happy and well taken care of. Like, it's almost like it's like they don't have to make a choice. Like, it just makes sense in the lore, and like,
that makes them superior to the Jedi Order that are like, no, you can't get married ever.
Well, to be fair, a lot of like I gotta go on this tangent. A lot of the crap the Jedi Order we do the for happened after the Rusan Reformation, which is when the Battle of Rusan was like the last part of the Jedi Civil Wars, like when the Rule of Two was established. Jared, you need to read the Darth Bane novels because like
they're still canon though.
Darth Bane is canon. I don't think his novels are, but it's one of those things where it's like it can be canon if you want it to be.
No. I acknowledge that Nick. I get that there's a context behind it, but I'm just it doesn't change the fact that the Jedi Order were morons.
They were better because remember the Jedi used to be like there's temples all over the galaxy.
Yeah,
you know. Like for example, in KOTOR, we saw the temple on Dantooine. It wasn't really after Rusan that they really centralized everything. They centralized their powers and took away the independent states' rights. Yes, I got political there for a moment.
Yeah, and what's by speaking of getting political in this episode, I love how this paints like government bureaucracy as the idiots. Like when they're like, okay, your visa is being processed, it'll be done in 2 months.
So the other thing to keep in mind is Earth Kingdom is heavily based off of Imperial China. So they are kind of playing off like the bureaucracy of Imperial China for a lot of that stuff. So that is kind of something to keep in mind there.
No, but I do love that because they played this like they're at the DMV. Which I very, very much enjoyed that.
No, it's the DMA, the DBA, Department of Bender Affairs. Okay, I'm sorry, like that. That's why, like you saw, like I went quiet and my face was going weird because like I was trying to come up with an acronym.
I appreciate that. I like that. That's fun. So on that note, do you want to wrap it up? All in all, this is a pretty, in terms of my opinion of it, It's average.
What's your rating?
Probably 6 out of 10, just because I've seen the plot
Oh.
before.
I give this an 8. Like it's solid. I think it's solid. I actually like dig like the whole conspiracy, intrigue stuff. So that might make me rate a little bit higher. But it's a good solid episode. Not the best, but like I think it's solid.
It's average, at least for me. It's just because, again, I've seen this plot before. That's just it. I'm willing to compromise at a 7 out of 10. That's pretty much.
I mean,
where
it's
I'll
your
leave
rating.
it.
Rate it whatever you want. But yeah.
I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's
All right.
It's okay.
You didn't have to, but I appreciate it.
It's okay. So, all right.
All right. So this has been Nick from the Phoenix Press, and remember, I can only show you the door. You're the ones to walk through it.